part of this whole thing, and, you know, it's also indicated in the rationale and background and information in our board packet. Before anything could even happen, we need to make sure that there are not only legislative, but also financial guarantees from the state that they either, if you know, we're fortunate enough that you know they will forgive the debt from both districts, that they will, and I'm just saying this is possibilities. I don't know whether or not, but we have to look at all the different possibilities that we can afford the best education for our students in the eastern side of the county. And if the financial incentives could be, you know, assisting us in the monetary portion of setting up new programming, because there will be a cost. And all of that has to be figured in. It has to be brought before the public. We're going to be having discussions, town hall meetings, we're going to have committees to find out exactly what this new system could look like if we get the legislative and financial guarantees from the state. And the public also has to approve it.
Okay, good, because you know,
that's the other key part.
Yes.
But I'm also saying, you know, it may not even come to a point where we vote on it. You know,
so that was what was kind of unclear from this set of recommendations. It almost sounded like it was a done deal.
We're going to be looking at two parallel universes, so to speak.
It
We're
also
going to
is
be looking at,
too.
correct. And I'm saying we collectively as a joint district investigation, we need to come up with a plan to present to the state. They're not just going to hand you money. But at the same time, we have to move forward as a singular district and do what we have to do to make our district the best it can be, but also look at what we can do jointly with Ypsilanti to make it better. Possible.
But to me, it seemed like it was the implication that we're going to put this, you know,
on the ballot
through before the voters, you know, before we even have walked around this, understood the implications.
It's
not only
walked around,
financial, but to our students. You know, I mean, this is.
It will be walked around. It will be discussed to a point where it'll be sort of like when we did our reconfiguration of our district. Where I have all the town meetings. Everybody knew exactly what was going to happen, how it was going to happen. People were involved along the process, all along the way, and we didn't have the problems we thought we would because everybody knew.
Then that's also one of the reasons that Trustee Stevens and I went to the IPSI meeting Monday night, was to find out what their board thought as well as their public, and based on the original verbiage, everyone thought that we were leaning toward a done deal already. And this is just for the purpose of discussion, and obviously, to have a discussion, it has to be an open discussion, and it needs to be a full meeting of both boards. Also, in all of the legislative committees, as they're being called now, there's been a great deal of discussion of even deeper consolidation between all of the county's schools down into the county level, the way that it's being done in other states. So, you know, this just may be step number one, but we have to open our eyes and look at it. We have to explore the possibility. And it's always better when you're doing something proactively instead of when the state walks in and says, these are the new rules, thanks for the quarter, please try again. You know, they take over and in the end probably make things worse, as we've seen some of the impacts in other districts around the state that they've taken over. So, gotta look at it.
And we know that high-quality educational programs can be expensive, and we want to make sure that in order for this to happen, if it does happen, there has to be financially we have to be able to sustain it. And that's why it's not just about, I think at this point, the school districts always jumping through the hoops, but we're asking for legislative relief, not that we are looking and having them lean toward forgiveness, because we know that's not going to happen, but if there could be long-term loan
Repayment, whatever.
repayment, something that we know is realistic that they can agree to, and we also will be looking at and going to speak with a team up at the MDE to see what they can offer for support of this as well.
Is it my understanding if this consolidation was to occur, that Ypsilanti would have the power?
Absolutely.
No,
No.
we're looking at a newly unified educational system. We're not talking about annexing of one district, absorbing the other.
And as far as your question goes, as I understand it, based on other input, one of the things that happens with the timeline is technically both districts get absolved, disappear. The area that used to be them, the ISD appoints a school board to take over as an interim board, and then they do the hiring of a superintendent, and just like if you were building a district from scratch.
And also, before we get too far ahead of ourselves,
Yes.
there has to be a unified plan in place with legislative and financial incentives in place.
We've got a valid reason to do it.
Before we even bring it up for a vote or anything. So the hard work is still needs to be done, but this just allows the districts to come together to start the discussion.
So it has to be a comprehensive plan that makes sense to move forward for our Eastern Washtenaw kids. But in order to just clarify one thing that Mr. Wildy said, so that we don't have rumors starting, when you said that, so you have the progression of the appointed board to the hiring of a superintendent to the hiring of staff, does not mean that we're hiring outside. We're looking at the people within the school districts. Just want to make sure that's out there.
And at this point in time, everything simply is all about discovery. Will it benefit the kids?
It did at the board meeting that Mr. Wiley and I attended. IPSI's trustees and superintendent had same concerns that are being voiced here about the finances. There's like millions of questions. There's going to have to be curriculum, transportation, buildings, and stuff like that. So, I immediately started getting calls. Are we going to be IPSI schools tomorrow? And just people are just running wild with this right now. But they need to know this is going to take a long time.
And that doesn't come out in this communications that was sent out, that's kind of a problem, that it did not come out that way.
The IPSI board's their resolution was just about like that, and like Mark said, they went 45 minutes tearing that apart to get it to something reasonable that everybody would realize that it's just a meeting to consider.
To initiate the discussion.
Yeah.
And so I can clarify something. The task force meetings, the task force committees, the steering committees, we all come together, we came together, and we do on what we can do what's best for our students. At the beginning, at every end of meeting, what is best for the students? And so when we looked at this, and when Mr. Martin and Mr. Siski came with this, they presented something being one unified district. There was a lot of pros about it, but there are also a lot of cons because you're taking two districts and you're putting them together. But I think when we start looking at what's best for our students and not look about a territorial thing, and then on top of that, if you understand what the legislator in Lansing is doing, like Mr. Wildy said, it's best that we start doing this before somebody comes down and say, this is what it's going to be. And so I think we have to understand that as far as the financial side, I do believe if we put together this system and this thing is thought out well enough that they will not take away, like Mr. Sissy said, but there's a lot of incentives. I talked to Representative Rutledge just the other day, and he was talking about a lot of money that would be allotted and would be provided if this was to happen, if it was to go through. But first of all, before anything, we gotta let the community know what's going on. We gotta let the community be informed about all this so we don't surprise on nobody. But come to us, don't start rumors, please. This is why we have board meetings. This is why we do this, so y'all can here, let's say it out here out front and not